Not that hard. He gave me a thumbs up. Both those things. Got me a little hot, you know. And I was elated, you know. I was very, very happy because I believed that his concession was as big a catastrophe as the theft, right? So, this was October 28th, 2005. My book tour started on Tuesday. I'm telling the story all over New York, and then on Friday, a week later, November 2nd, I'm on Democracy Now! And I'm debating Mark Hertzgaard, another progressive who'd written a piece in Mother Jones, another progressive magazine, the argument of which was, it wasn't stolen. There's no evidence it was stolen. How do I know? Well, I went to Ohio and I asked a Democrat. That really, and he said it wasn't stolen, so there's nothing to. Anyway, we're arguing, and he says, even Kerry doesn't think it was stolen. I said, well, he just told me, you know, et cetera. Well, Mark got very excited. He said, this is a scoop. You buried the lead. This is a big deal. The producers of Democracy Now! Sent out a press release, and the internet exploded. People were either saying, you know, the schmuck, why didn't he do this in the first place? Or, no, it's a good thing, better late than never. 3 hours later, Kerry's office releases a statement categorically denying we'd had the conversation. Now, why, okay? Yeah, it's Homeland Security. Everybody says he just chickened out, he weaseled out, he didn't want to be attacked, see? Well, by the press, okay? 2 days later, Robert Parry comes out with a piece, you know, a great reporter, on his website, consortiumnews.com. He quotes a longtime Kerry associate named Jonathan Weiner, who says, yeah, Kerry thinks the race was stolen, but he won't talk about it because he's afraid that if he does, the powers in place will smash him, okay? Now, people are writing to me, they're saying, what a weasel, what a weenie, you know, he was afraid, they're gonna call him names. Okay, I thought about this for a little while and I realized that doesn't explain anything. What that demonstrates is that Kerry's in denial. See, it's one thing for him to understand from the neck up that it was stolen, right? He's not stupid. And believe me, a cursory study of the evidence makes abundantly clear that election was stolen and that it wasn't even that close. And it wasn't only in Ohio either. So he understands that with his frontal lobe, but it's different to take it to heart and face its implications, because if you really do accept what happened, you realize that it's a catastrophe, it's an emergency, and it's something that a guy like John Kerry or Al Gore is simply not built to deal with, right? Because if you come to terms with what went down, you realize this is an attack on American democracy. You know, business as usual can't simply continue. We got to do something. We got to hit the barricades. We can't continue to talk about my fine friend on the other side of the aisle and so on. Now, I'm not arguing with Rob's point that we have to work with Republicans. We do, but we don't have to work with fascists, okay? I'm serious. I'm serious. Now, it's very hard to face the fact that that's what we're up against, but do you remember, for example, the mob that broke into the canvassing board room in Miami-Dade and stopped the vote count? You know, they beat people up. They warned that 1,000 Cubans were coming to help them out, right? Those are brown shirt tactics. We have the pictures of the people involved. It was not a bourgeois riot, as Paul Guizot of the Wall Street Journal said approvingly. These were party operatives. They all came out of congressional offices. We know exactly who they are, and nobody ever prosecuted them. See? So the point here is that more than half the battle is getting people to face what happened. It's not just a technical problem. It is a civic problem, but it is a profound civic problem. Now, look, in New Hampshire, just so you know, the votes that were counted by hand, okay, Obama won by 6 points. The votes that were counted by OpScan, Hillary won by 6 points. Now, here's a problem we're up against. See, formerly, when you talked about this kind of fraud, you get furious emails, abusive, vituperative emails from Republicans because they're content with the outcome. See? Now, one finds that one gets abusive, vituperative emails from Hillary supporters because they're happy with the outcome, even though there is a very good chance that the Republicans fixed that race because they want to run against Hillary. So the point I'm trying to make here is that we're up against a psychological, we're up against resistance that's completely understandable. And the only way to break through it is to keep publicizing, to keep spreading the word, to keep making it clear that it's not just this little thing here or that little thing there. We're talking about a fringe movement that has taken over the Republican Party, that has been dismantling democracy, that has been destroying the voting system on every conceivable front, not just through machines. They're even messing with the census. They're preventing another census from being taken because if you have census data, you can track this stuff more easily. They're not incompetent. They're very good at this. That's what they're doing. See? Now, scary, isn't it? This stuff happened in New Hampshire. In South Carolina, we have a primary coming up. The Times is going on and on and on about the smear tactics against McCain, and they should cover that. But the machines that they're using in South Carolina have all been banned in other states. Yes, and you should know this. See, this is fundamentally a media problem. They're using machines that have been banned in other states. Nevada, coming up very shortly, is it not? Brad Friedman and Michael Richardson have published, they've written, it's going to be included in my book, Loser Take All, an amazing history of how Nevada's Sequoia voting machines came to be adopted by the state. These are machines that failed every laboratory test there is. But corrupt officials in Nevada covered all that up. So the fact is, we can't be sure that the results in those states are honest or accurate. We can't know. Now, let's shift focus for a moment. In order to get out of this situation, we not only have to... Who is it? This is something we have to do. Listen, on the one hand, we have to make people aware of the gravity of the situation, right? We have to do that. They have to know that this stuff has been going down. It's been going on for at least 7 years. And we're at risk, therefore, of losing our republic, okay? That's what this struggle is all about. We believe in Republican self-government, checks and balances, habeas corpus, free speech, separation of church and state, all this great radical stuff that we have long since taken for granted, haven't we? And we now know that that was wrong. We shouldn't have done that. We have to fight for that, okay? So we have to make it clear to people that the movement that's now trying to seize power and has in fact seized power and that has taken over the Supreme Court, see, is opposed to all those things, is hostile to the Enlightenment program. We have to point that out. We have to accept it for ourselves, and we have to point it out. At the same time, we have to demonstrate that it can be changed. See? In your hands, you have what I offer is just something to work for, and this isn't just my work. This is, the fruit of much discussion with many of the people in this room and so on. I call it a 12-step program because we're addicted to the horse race. You follow me? We're all addicted to the horse race, Every time something anomalous happens, like in New Hampshire, every horse's ass in the network news comes up with an instantaneous explanation of why it happened, right?